face it, not everything you make in art is great. Sometimes you have good days, and sometimes you have bad days. Sometimes your art is excellent, and other times your art sucks.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel, and welcome to this new video. And in this video I'm going to be taking a look at one of my bad pieces of art. You've seen this in the thumbnail, and this is a fan art piece I did way back in the day of Cyclops. And here's the piece. This is a fan art piece that I did way back in the day. Just a few years ago. I don't know if you can see that. It's what's that? January, March, April, May, 15th of May of 2019. And yeah, so back then, this is about 6 months coming back into art, because I took a hiatus, a 10-year hiatus, and I stopped drawing. What was that, like, I don't know, for 10 years. No, but the thing is that I came back in 2018 in December. Like, I came back then, and I started picking back up with the drawing, and I first started inking at this time. So I first learned about inking, what it meant. But anyways, and I did this piece in May of 2019, just 6 months later. So I was still very fresh. I still didn't I was still learning a lot, and at this time I was still rendering and inking pretty much as I would have with my pencil. So with the pen, what I usually, like when I do shading, I do that. I do just darker, like you can see here, for example, there's a value, and here's the different value, and then this one here is darker, and so that's the kind of shading that I would do with pencil. And so I approached my my inking in the very same way. So to a certain degree it's pretty good, but to another it's not, because you come across these kinds of mistakes, and yeah, so that's where my drawing was at back then. And I was drawing a lot of things innately. Like, I would just draw a face, what I thought would be a good looking face, then a muscular neck, supposedly, then they go into the body, and I would just draw what I thought were things that needed to go where they needed to go. But I was still learning a lot. I still have a lot more to learn, but yeah, like, things didn't look really good. And I'm doing this particular drawing for Your Art Sucks, because this was actually looked at by a professional. I went to a Comic-Con back in 2019. Was it 2019 or 2020? I forgot which year it was. It must have been 19, because the pandemic wasn't around, so it must have been 19. And yeah, I showed this to a professional artist. His name is Claudio Aboy, that's his last name, and he's more known for his Star Wars work. He does paintings of Star Wars stuff, and he's even got some of his paintings in George Lucas's home. Like, George Lucas bought some of his original art, was really impressed by his work, and just took it and bought it. And but anyways, he's a professional artist, and the only one of the few artists that I showed my work to at that time. And some of the critiques that I'm giving you now are some of what he said to me back then. At number one, for example, or the most important thing being that the musculature, the muscles and everything look very blocky, very blockish. Doesn't look natural at all. It was almost as if I was drawing blocks, he said. So, like, very squarish. And he told me not to go again, to not do that. He didn't give me much more tip other than that. Just told me what I did wrong, but he didn't tell me how to improve it. And so I had to later go and try to find how to best improve it with what I could find on the internet. But yeah, that's what he did. So I look at this piece now, and I immediately noticed that this piece has a serious problem with the figure. Um, at least in my opinion. Yeah, all of these things are just things that I noticed, but you may notice other things in the art that I may not catch on. So that's perfectly fine. If you notice something else that's wrong with this piece, please by all means tell me in the comments where I messed up and what aspect of art I messed up in. So yeah, so I'm gonna write this in ink, but the figure's messed up. So number one, the first thing that I need to do with this is I need to work with something that's called gesture drawing. And this is something that was recommended to me by Brett Booth. Back in my early days, I would tag him on Twitter and then ask like what kind of advice he would give for some of my pieces. And then almost every time that he would say anything about my art is that I had a problem with stiffness. So I put that in ink again. And yeah, and so my problem is stiffness, and so the solution to this is something that's called gesture drawing. No, because back then I had this habit of just like, for example, I start off with the head, then I go down to the neck, then I go down to the body. I wouldn't measure anything out. Then I go down to the lower torso, or what I thought was a torso. Then I'll draw an arm, and then I'll draw another arm. And I would just like draw as I went. Like there was no preconceived idea of first. It was just draw whatever you had. And gesture drawing kind of works against that. Now, this is just my understanding of gesture drawing, because gesture drawing goes much more in depth into like figure work. So I'm just going to give you like a quick rundown of what it means, or what I think it means. I could be misinterpreting. If I am, please let me know in the comments. And but see, for example, this figure is just standing there, and if I look at the line of motion, it's just straight up and down. It's just the head here, torso here, arms here, straight. And normally things like this is what creates stiffness. Just having very straight, bland, I guess you could say bland, just straight, normal, figures. They normally are not very attractive. So the thing is, especially in comics, because comics capture a lot of action, the thing is always to draw things dynamically, with motion. So lines that go up and down like this aren't the way to go. It's almost always at a slant. Like either you're going back in motion or forward in motion. Like something, for example, that you notice it immediately is like, for example, with punches. Yeah, what can I do? Yeah, like let's see, we do the figure drawing here. Figure drawing here. And then even this, for example, this needs needs more work, but I think you get the idea. The idea is that you have to draw the character dynamically, and there has to be a line of motion. So in this case, for this figure, the line of motion is something like this. And so this creates, it's more dynamic rather than just having it, just up and down and stuff like that. And so yeah, this is something that you have to work with, because even having this kind of action, like depending on how you draw the actual figure, you can have a pose very dynamic like this and still have it be stiff. So I think that's the problem where I'm at right now. So but it's just a matter of working at it. The best thing that you can do to not be rigid is just to make these quick strokes. Because for example, if I want to draw a line from, for example, from point A to point B, I want to draw a straight line like this. I can go slow, and then as I'm going slow, you can see tension here, no, and then it affects the execution of the line, no. But if I were to get that same distance and just make one quick movement like that, you can see that this line here that I just drew looks much better than this line. So this kind of line here is the kind of line that'll give you more of that motion. I have problems with that because I just have problems with that, just trying to execute those kinds of lines. And so I work on it. I try my best to work on it. So that's something that always sticks in my head when I look at this. Like for example here, no, this isn't, like I was drawing a line here, and then I messed up here, so I went over again. And so things like that, and that kind of thing is all over the place. That's just stiffness in the way I execute my inks, and just which is a consequence of how I executed the pose itself. So it's just, that's horrible in that aspect. So yeah, this pose, for example, is just like an upper torso. The head's facing this way, the neck, like this. The torso is very straight down. Then when I get down, to the legs, I just do this and I just do that, and then there's an arm here. You don't know what happens with the arm. There's an arm here. I give some kind of indication that there's a bend here, which is pretty good. And then I do this motion here, and I do this supposedly to make you think that he's quickly turning his head as he's shooting the beam. So, and then you have the beam being shot. So that's the concept, but as you can see, the line of motion is up and down like that, and it's really stiff. It's really, it's not good at all for dynamics. So that's the number one problem with that. My second problem that I have with this, that I notice, is just the rendering. The rendering, for example, that I rendered this like pencil. I just drew a bunch of quick lines like this. Something like that, or I did that motion, and that's not good at all. At least what you should aim for is something a little bit more controlled, something like that. You can do it with a base and then fling it, or you can just fling it. And you can make patterns with it. So this is what you should aim for, and not that. But I didn't know that. I didn't know that back then. So it's just, just where I was at the time. So but if you practice, you'll get from here, and then you'll get here eventually. So it's good to see. So that was a problem that I had. Rendering is a problem that I had with all this. Normally now, for example, everything that you see that's with this hatching line, I would just paint it completely black, and then from that black, I would render outwards. The hair also, for example, all I did was I drew for example, I just drew like a block of hair like that, and I just drew a line like this. If I thought that this area needed a little bit more shading, I would draw more lines. And that was just it. And that's not how you render hair. At least that's not the best way to render hair. And so that was a problem that I had. The rendering here is a problem that I had. So rendering is a problem. Just the drawing, rendering, and anatomy. Anatomy, I will put anatomy up here also. Just to play more with the anatomy so it doesn't look so boxy. The comment that I got, and the comment that stuck with me in my head that day, was that it was too boxy. It's like, boxy? What do you mean boxy? It looks like boxes. But so yeah, I had the tendency, and I think artists have the tendency now, or just artists in general have the tendency of drawing everything in blocks like that. Like this is the pec, these are the pecs. This is and all these are the abs and the lower half of the torso, and just everything's square and boxy. So the human body is not always like that. It's not always just like that. You know, that isn't always the abs. No, the abs have different have different lines to it. You know, and so you have to you have to study that. You have to look at the human body itself, and then just look at that, and then try to repeat some of the lines that you see. And you look at artwork also, like look at other people's drawings and see how they do that stuff. And then you have to make a change because you can't continue drawing like that. No, it's not gonna look good. Man. So that's not the way to go. Shouldn't just do everything boxes. No, you gotta try to make it look more natural. Something that's beautiful about the human body is that it's imperfect. Like just the things, like the elements are there. You know, like the pecs. You know, the abs, deltoids, the muscles, everything is there, but everything is not perfect. You know, there's dents, there's things, you know, there's bumps, you know, there's different things, you know, in the body. And so yeah, so just like having a good foundation and understanding of it is great, and then being able to play with it afterward is also something that I would recommend, because it's not perfect. You don't have to be picture perfect with it, but you do have to know where things are so that you know how to play with it. You know, but yeah, it's not like that. You know? So yeah, so these are the three things that I noticed in this drawing, and I could probably go into. No, I think that's about it. I don't think there's any more with that. It's three basic things: the stiffness, the rendering, and just the lack of knowledge of anatomy and stuff. You know, so what I'm saying is that if I fix these problems in this drawing, then I would make this a whole lot better. You know, and yeah, maybe one day I'll draw him again. Who knows? But I don't know. Who knows what happens in the future? But yeah. So these are the problems that I noticed. This is the Cyclops drawing that I did. This is the latest episode of Your Art Sucks. And I hope you liked it. If you did, please hit that like button. So I'll put out more videos like this. I haven't put out one in a while, so I figured it'd be a good time to put out one, and just take a look at Cyclops. And it sucks because he's my favorite X-Men. I think him. I don't know. I like him. I like Wolverine. I like Gambit. Those guys are just that's my jam. I love Magneto. Awesome guy, but awesome character. But yeah, I've always got I think Cyclops is always a really cool character. But yeah, so that's it. I hope you liked the video, and if you did, hit that like button. Please comment if you have any questions, or if you think that I've made other mistakes. Please let me know in the comments below, and that's it. I'll check you out in the next video. Take care.
Hello, everyone. The time is finally upon us. Ominous Avenging Death is now available. Avenging Death is a short 10-page story that serves as a preview of what kind of art you can expect and the world you'll see in the main story of Ominous. In Avenging Death, we'll see Zadok take on the monstrous Deathmonger in a 10-page fight scene that'll be sure to get you hooked into the world of Ominous. All of the artwork is done, including the line art, which was done by me, the colors, which were done by Emmanuel Orlas, and the lettering, which was done by Paul Bird. So grab your copy of the digital PDF file today for only $5. That's right, $5. Contact me in my DMs on Twitter for more information. Now, coming up next is the official trailer of Ominous Avenging Death. Enjoy.